This is the first video of my new series, Aviation Explained. My goal through this series, is that you will walk away knowing at least a little bit more about the United States aviation industry. The US aviation industry is a very complex topic, so I'll break it down into smaller parts. To understand why the United States aviation industry functions the way it does, it is important to look at the fundamentals. The United States has both leisure travelers and business travelers. The United States is a developed country that is very sparsely populated, roughly 8 times less densely populated than the United Kingdom. There are also cities that have a population of 9 million like New York City, as well as thousands and thousands of miles of farmland out in the countryside. This means that the industry has to adapt to serve the small rural communities, as well as serve the big cities such as New York and Los Angeles. So that begs the question, how does this all happen? This is why in the US, you see planes such as ERJs and CRJs, which are very small regional jets manufactured by Bombardier and Embraer that hold up to 76 passengers that fly from bigger airports to smaller cities. Airlines want to connect the most possible passengers while operating the least amount of flights possible. For the purposes of this video, I am going to strictly focus on the legacy airlines that you all know of: American, United, and Delta. All 3 of these airlines have hubs operate using a system called the hub and spoke model. Budget airlines don't operate this way, but I'll save this for another part. A hub is an airport where an airline is based off of. Think of it as a collection point. Every one of the airline's flights starts or ends at a hub most of the time. Hubs are also great places to do the maintenance, as all of an airline's planes usually start or end a flight at their hubs. American's hubs are New York JFK and LaGuardia, Philadelphia, Washington Reagan, Charlotte, Miami, Chicago O'Hare, Dallas Fort Worth, Phoenix Sky Harbor, and Los Angeles. Delta's hubs are Boston, New York JFK and LaGuardia, Atlanta, Detroit, Minneapolis, Salt Lake City, Seattle, and Los Angeles. Finally, United's hubs are Newark, Washington Dulles, Chicago, Houston, Denver, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. Airlines space out all their hubs around the country so that it can provide the most direct connection to the most people possible. New York and Los Angeles are hubs to all 3 major airlines. To understand how hubs work, we have to look at the hub and spoke model of flying. Let's take United's hub at Newark for an example. Here are just an example of 6 cities that United flies to: Buffalo, Syracuse, Albany, Pittsburgh, Washington, D.C., and Richmond. All of these cities, with the exception of Washington, D.C., are small, rural, local cities. If United were to fly from each one of these cities to each other, it would take a total of 21 flights. Not only will this take up 21 aircraft, this will be very inefficient and be economically impossible, as there isn't even enough demand to fill these flights using a 50-seat jet. By using the hub and spoke model, we can cut this down to just 6 flights using 3 planes, as the planes all land at the hub Newark and connect. And what is even better for the airline is that these planes tend to have a higher load factor, as there are people traveling all over the country in these flights, not just to one destination. When you think of the world's biggest airport, you might think of JFK Airport in New York City, maybe London Heathrow in London, or Paris, but all of these answers are just wrong. The world's biggest airport by passenger numbers is Atlanta. This is for a few reasons. 1. Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport is the only commercial airport in Atlanta, so all the traffic is consolidated into this one airport. If you take all of the airports in the New York City area, it has more annual passengers. But for the single biggest airport in the world, by passenger numbers, Atlanta is surely the biggest. In the year of 2019, Atlanta Airport carried nearly 110.5 million passengers, while the New York area carried a total of 140 million passengers, which is more, but it was split up amongst 3 airports. JFK carrying 62.5 million, LaGuardia carrying 31.1 million, and Newark carrying 46.3 million passengers. Secondly, Atlanta is located only a few hundred miles from the mean population center of the US. This means that more passengers can be connected quicker. This is also one of the reasons why Delta has a hub in Atlanta. Atlanta is Delta's biggest hub, and it is also where Delta's headquarters are located. Not all hubs are created equal. The hubs on the coasts, such as New York and Los Angeles, primarily serve the purpose of Atlantic and Pacific traffic respectively, while connecting it to the rest of the United States. Atlanta Airport is a central hub for Delta, meaning its primary job is to connect passengers flying domestically within the US, and there are a lot of them. American has Charlotte, Chicago, Phoenix, and Dallas to serve this purpose, while United has Chicago, Houston, and Denver. Delta's main hub that serves this purpose is Atlanta, in addition to a smaller one at Salt Lake City. This is why Delta has a 72% market share at Atlanta Airport and serves flights to every single terminal. Delta took this medium-sized city decades ago and built a large airport and a hub to make a base out of. This information can help you choose what airline you should fly more to gain frequent flyer benefits if you live in a certain area. For example, if you live in Orlando or in other places in Florida, it doesn't make any sense to make United your primary airline because it will take flights, for example, to Puerto Rico look like this instead of this compared to on American. It will take twice as long on United in this scenario. There is one final thing to address. The hub and spoke model is slowly being phased out, at least internationally. For the longest time ever, it was common knowledge that the bigger a plane was, the more range it had because of larger fuel tanks. But times have changed, and so have aircraft. We are at the point in time where fuel efficiency allows for airplanes as small as a single-aisle 757 or an A321XLR to fly transatlantic. This allows routes to open up directly, such as Boston to Barcelona, which don't have as much demand. But because of the sheer number of airports and people located sparsely in the US, it is unlikely that American, United, or Delta will switch from the hub and spoke model anytime soon. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts and questions. See you on Tuesday for my next part about budget airlines.